Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our Destination 2020 Vision and Strategy webinar for workers' compensation and safety. I want to thank you for attending, and I'm excited to see so many people focused on safety and bringing solutions and goals to 2020. I think a thriving program needs goals and action items to enforce and create a culture based on safety. I see that most of you on the call here are in charge of your program. However, as many of you know, that you cannot do it alone. So you need to create the buzz around safety, and hopefully we'll provide some ideas for you and your organization. In looking at the folks that are actually on this webinar today, I see we have some HR professionals, some risk managers, some administrators, and I know all of you are tasked to in charge of the workers' comp program or also safety. So I commend you for coming on this webinar. One of the biggest questions I ask all of my clients is, what is the goal for 2020 as it relates to safety and as it relates to workers' comp? And sometimes I get the look of confusion. And I said, well, if we don't set a goal, if we don't set milestones, if we don't set a culture in place, we're doomed to fail. And so, one, I want to commend you for attending this webinar. Hopefully you gather some pieces of information that you can take back to your organization and then roll it out for your own organization as well too. So first and foremost, let's go into kind of what's next and everything as well too. So I always ask people, what happened last year? So what happened to your organization in 2019? So when we look at setting goals, we want to step back and really try to understand what the heck happened. Do we see a trend of all the previous claims, or were they just random acts? In an effort to plan and create a blueprint for 2020, we really need to look at the numbers to try to find some trends or identify some areas of risk. For example, we have a client and we noticed that all new employees were getting injured in the first 60 days of employment. Well, that client will be creating a safety orientation checklist per department and training all new employees before they step foot in their respective department. Because what did we see? We saw a trend of all new employees literally getting hurt within the first couple of months of employment, and we're now trying to engineer that out. If you're seeing disgruntled and abusive type of claims, what's really happening in that department, and could it be a management issue? How are they talking to their people? What is the vibe? I always ask this, are people happy? When I tend to see and look at claims, I'm always surprised to see how many are litigated and how many are open for quite some time. Or I will ask, or do we just leave a bad employee in the workforce? And now are we surprised that we have a bogus claim? You know, HR, if it blows up a situation, we tend to see that it will also impact the workers' comp as well too. So just in looking at the slide here, what was the nature of the cause? What body part, injury type? Are we having lacerations? Are we having concussions? Are we seeing a departmental trend? Is it always in the kitchen? Is it always in the warehouse? Is it within a particular department and a manager? Are we seeing heavy turnover? Are we seeing a lot of injuries? Are we seeing people leave for stress based on a manager? Are we seeing a lot of litigated claims? That concerns me as well too. And then also too, are we seeing abuse, fraud, and questionable claims as well too? If that tends to happen, then sometimes it is a cultural thing that I'm seeing, that maybe people are not happy. But really, when we're crafting our goals for 2020, we need to look back and see what really happened in our backyard, and can we now engineer that out? So some of the goals I tell people, I go, well, let's take a look at some of the things here. So what are some of the organizational goals and your personal goals? If you don't have any, then just expect things to just happen. Or does a game plan sound better? So for your career and for your performance evaluation, could you then put down some goals in regards to turning your program around or keeping it a safe environment as well too? So here's just some things that I wanted to touch upon. How many people know their minimum mod? That is your absolute best score based on your class codes and payroll. Yes, it's tough to achieve, but wouldn't you want to know what the absolute best is? Personally, I would want to know and then compare it to my current XMOD score and understand the difference and try to show the financial impact. We have a financial report that I love to show all of our clients, because what does it show? It shows the actual minimum and current and the difference in between. Okay, are we an organization that is paying 150% more than the norm, or 50% over the norm, or are we paying 20% below the industry average? You should know that, and it could be one of your personal goals to turn that ship around and to create some financial perimeters around that score as well too. For example, I have two clients. One has an 86 mod, that other one has a 150 mod. The cost difference in workers' comp premium is over $200,000. Do they have more people? No. They have exactly the same, almost identical in regards to demographic makeup and also the payroll. So they just have more risk, they have more claims, and it's more expensive to insure them as well too. So I'm asking them, focus on your minimum. Where are you at now? And what can we do in the middle to bring you down to at least a 1? Have you told your managers how good or bad you are? Why not? Give them a report card. Let them know, are we at a C or C minus? Are we at a D? Because if you're at a D or F, you're having to pay more in workers' comp. Therefore, you're not able to give back in regards to raises and equipment and technology. Share the news. And the reason why we need to share our report card is because they need to be your safety champions as well too. Safety falls on deaf ears if it's just with one person who's submitting in the claims. Everybody needs to buy in into safety. Question 2, do you have your calendar of topics set up and are you educating everybody? So prevention and education. Do you have your 2020 calendar? This one is critical. If you don't put it the time to train, you're not showing your employees that you care, and you will eventually have injuries happen in the workplace. And the last one here, we also love our Zero Factors campaign, and we encourage all of you to roll this out if possible. It's one of our campaigns that's near and dear to us, and we would like to share it with you right now. So what does Zero Factors look like? Well, it has a lot of zeros here, and really at the end of the day, it's more marketing so your managers and employees can understand it. We call this Zero Factors. The purpose is bringing safety to the front of the mind of all the employees and managers. We need buy-in into the culture of safety, and these factors contribute to a safe environment. It's also the best practices in workers' comp. So first, think safe. We don't want any lost time claims. Be aware and work smart. Second, we want zero delays in reporting injury. Once an injury happens, we need the employee to notify management immediately and then proceed with the correct process of seeking care. Both the employee and management have a huge responsibility in communication. It is not acceptable for somebody to tell us 54 days before or after something has happened, or 3 years later. That is unacceptable. And do you have in your employee manual their responsibility to tell you immediately or within 24 hours? You need to hold people accountable for that, okay? Their lost time, if you can have somebody come back to work, we will have a position for you. Have a list of modified job duties in a library that you can retrieve when needed. If you don't have that library beforehand, what will happen is this. We have an employee that can only do 5% of their job, unfortunately. You go back to that manager and you ask, do you have anything available? Absolutely not. No, I want to go back to my library, pick and choose from here and there, because again, I would like to keep them on the premises so that they're with their team, and I'm not being to be impacted financially with an indemnity claim of them sitting at home and collecting money. Okay, so the health of the claimant is critical with this process. If not handled properly, we can see a claim either stay open over a year, and the cost can also double. Fourth, hiring. Yes, I know unemployment is low. I know it's hard to find quality candidates, but try to hire A players. Also, to use the introductory period to vet out people that can't do the job, provide conditional job offers for successful background and screenings and reference checks. I always tell people, please, please, please be picky. If you are not picky, you're going to pay for it later on. I know we've all taken shortcuts. I know we've all hired somebody who was absolutely not the right fit. We delay the inevitable, and then what happens? We then have to fire them eventually. But have they been there too long now, and could they say that they got hurt a month before? Okay. Litigation is one that's near and dear to me. Why? Because I'm always curious why people get representation. If that's my employee, why do they feel the need to hire someone else to help them get care? In my years of asking, I really do think it comes down to hiring and also compassion. For some reason, they're willing to pay someone up to like 15% of their claim. And you know what they say, friends don't sue friends. And so I really do think that as we take a look at the claim and processing the claim, who is the warm, fuzzy person who's helping them navigate through the process of a claim? We have something called the care and concern packet. It actually tells them, unfortunately, you have to go to this clinic, right? Unfortunately, because it is an occupational injury, here's what. You will not get fired for filing a claim. You may be called by somebody called an adjuster, right? And this is our insurance carrier. Give them all those wonderful pieces of information. Having a claim is extremely, extremely scary. And if we could just help in regards to educating them on the process, I don't really think they would need to go to the dark side to get someone else to represent them. Plus two, I can't talk to this employee anymore as well too. So we try to do everything to avoid litigation. Fraud. So it's real, but do you have a solid system in place to defend yourself? I know it is one of the things in Southern California that is plaguing a lot of employers. I work with some of the best workers' comp attorneys, and the one thing I always ask them is, if I could pass on some information to my clients, what would you tell me? And they said documentation, documentation, documentation. So that way it's not just one-sided. We're not hearing from just the claimant. We need documentation from you. We need performance reviews. We need exit paperwork. We need write-ups. We need thorough investigations. We need loss control. We need witness statements. We need to have the employee put in writing what actually happened, and to show you if possible as well too, and take pictures, pictures, pictures. Also too, you should have a wonderful relationship with your clinic. Make a call to them as well too if you feel as if this claim is somewhat questionable, and have that ongoing relationship with the claims manager as well too, with the adjuster, and let them know, I would like to flag this. Can we delay it? Can we do some sub rosa investigation as well too? With that right there, it is going to, people will know that you're not just submitting in a claim and not doing anything about it, you really are questioning the validity, and that's huge. Last but not least, 0x mod. So it's impossible to have a 0x mod, but what could you do to be close to your minimum mod? So zero factors is not one piece of the puzzle. It's a concept, it's a culture, it's an understanding. And so when we roll this out to organizations, we always tell the employees, one, we want you all to be safe, okay? If you do unfortunately do get hurt, you need to tell us within 24 hours, if not sooner. If you do have any sort of limitations, we will give you modified duty here, okay? And then also too with the managers, they need to be aware that we want zero claims, and they need to keep an eye on the workplace. They need to make sure there's safe hiring and also safe behaviors within the organization as well too. So it's a concept and something that can be rolled out. Here's another way of looking at it, a way to, again, zero is something easy for people to comprehend. When we talk about X mods, we talk about WCIRB, we tend to lose people. Keep it simple, right? Mission zero, zero injuries, zero tolerance, zero compromise, and zero impact. And part of it needs to be, why should I care as an employee? And I'll show you some pictures at the very end on how it would impact them if they were to be totally disabled. How would it impact their family? How would it impact their lives? How would it impact their ability to provide for their families? And those are all things we think are really, really important when talking about safety from a big holistic cultural value. Next, we're going to talk about best practices. So when I get to work with numerous amounts of organizations, I learn and learn and learn. And I always ask my clients that have a 50 mod or a 62 mod or a 47 mod, my question to them is, oh my gosh, what are you doing? What's working? And I saw that you were at 180. You've totally turned around your program. What's been working? And so I've just been gathering, not only from the best in workers' comp institutes, but also too from real life employers and seeing what's happening. So here's what I've learned, and most of these things maybe you're already doing, and the best actually do these things really, really, really well. So when you see here job descriptions, you know, they're updated, they're real with specific job functions, especially the physical requirements. For clients that hire people, I go, the interview needs to start with a job description. When you hire people, when you're training them, when you're doing reviews, or when people get into a car accident, need accommodations, where's their job description, right? Also to make sure you have people sign and you have managers use them during orientation training. Here is why we've hired you. I don't care if you're 99 years old. I don't care if you're purple. The job is here. This is why you're on the payroll. Set expectations at the forefront. How are your managers? Are they motivating and being honest leaders? Do they go out of their way to say great job and thanks for helping out? If they're not, we may have a disconnect. Make sure your managers know how to manage behaviors in the workplace. It's called emotional intelligence. If they don't have those skills, be on the lookout for stress, anxiety, fraud claims, and oh yes, harassment as well. That's really a big one. My final best practice is having a grab and go document, all the important numbers, information in one kick. You hang it up on the wall. Someone that needs some help, they need to take them to the ER. It has directions right then and there. Or someone has a number for the nurse triage line for a very minor cut. Timing is critical, and your response time to an employee is critical as well too. So those are some of the things that I see that are really, really, really important. But most importantly, What are the goals for 2020? Have you instituted those? Do people know what they are? Have you had an all hands meeting to let them know? OSHA Compliance. So we've been getting a lot of calls from clients recently because they're randomly being audited by OSHA. And basically, what does OSHA want to see? OSHA wants to see that you're doing your absolute best to create a safe environment. Okay. Now all you have to do is show all your documentation. Seems easy enough, but that's usually the problem. Okay. I know that a lot of organizations say they're OSHA compliant, but they have absolutely no documentation. If you have no documentation, as if you've never done anything. Recently, we had a client with a amputation. It was just the tip of the finger, so they needed to call the local enforcement office within 8 hours. Within 48 hours, an inspector was at the door. And what did he want to see? Basically everything. No, but really what he wanted to focus in on was the lockout tagout, because the amputation was caused because they did not turn off the machine. And specifically, they wanted to see the signature of that specific employee. And wouldn't you know, they did not have lockout tagout and they had no employee signature. So again, showing that they're not creating a safe environment. So if you try to stay OSHA compliant, you'll do two things. Spread safety and be compliant with OSHA. Yes, it takes time. Yes, managers don't want to do it. However, if you had 2 of their employees out on leave for 2 or 3 months, how much of an impact would it have on their department? The managers really don't have a choice. It's required, and prevention is everything. So also too, just make sure you have all your safety documents. Most organizations, that's about 12 documents right there. Have your 2020 monthly calendar of safety topics, okay? With the trainings, make sure you have the signatures. Try to get as many as possible. I don't care if you're doing it online. I don't care if you're doing old paper. Have those and collect those and have those within your OSHA safety documents. Also, do have your safety committee with your meeting minutes. And what are you talking about? Previous injuries, safe behaviors. You're going to also have documentation on your audits as well too. Keep in mind that if you are considered a high hazard industry or you have an XMOD of higher than 125, you are more likely to be audited. So make sure that you have your house in order, okay? They're more likely to come in and they're more likely to want to see all of your compliance documents as well too. So, and also too, I tell managers this. I know they're so busy, they don't have time. Again, you have to sell it. What if we could prevent injuries? What if you had a couple of people that only could do 5% of the job? How much of an impact would that be on your department? They'd probably say it'd be horrible. Exactly. So one, we want to prevent injuries. We want to show the employees we care, and we'll also be OSHA compliant. It's a 3-prong. We've got to do it. I know you're busy, but I'll see you at Tuesday. Or here's the safety training for this month. I look forward to getting it back with everybody's signature next month. So again, we talked about a lot of items. So what does 2020 safety and workers' comp look like for you? Some might say, oh, we're doing pretty good. Others might say we have a lot of work to do. Just start putting the blueprint together. That's what I tell people. Okay, so planning for 2020. So what is your blueprint? And what would you need to do to brainstorm and create again? What happened in the past? Are we doomed to repeat it? Do we have goals that we want to strive for? And again, are we sharing it with all? Should we put in place some best practices? Zero factors. What is our slogan for our safety culture that everybody can absorb, understand, and have safety at the front of mind? Implant positive and achievable goals. And last but not least, make sure you're OSHA compliant. Create your own campaign within your organization, bring it to life. At the end of the day, you potentially could be saving someone's life, preventing a life debilitating injury, and also creating a happier and safer culture for all. So again, it's branding of your organization as well. You want to be the employer of choice. All these little things contribute to your core values and also the brand and also the culture that you actually have within the workplace as well too. So this is one campaign that I absolutely love. Again, simple, easy, something that we can all digest. Think safe every day, work safe every day, and be home safe every day. We've got to tie in that emotional part of being home, right? Because if they do get injured, it will impact how they provide for their family, and eventually too being able to work for the rest of their life as well too. And here's one poster that I found was very emotional. Make it your own. Take pictures of your staff. Maybe one from the greens, one from the kitchen, one from the warehouse, one from the front office. Why is it important to go home safe? Help my grandkids learn karate. See my son start grade first. So I love all of these. Why? Because of the fact that it sends a message of we're caring, but also too, it brings safety to the front of their mind as well too. You have to make safety something that hits home. You have to make safety something that's personal. And it's not just because of the financial reward of the organization. What will it help the employees? So make sure when you're looking at those goals, you're putting these together as well too. And last but not least, a few things actually. We hope to see you at our labor law update. It's going to be on January 30th at the beautiful Rolling Hills Country Club with our wonderful Richard Simmons, who is the wage and hour guru, to talk about all the scary things that are happening within California and beyond that. So I hope you're able to join us for that event as well too. And to sweeten the deal, we're going to give you a labor poster as well. Thank you all for attending. I hope that we were able to bring up some ideas for 2020. I hope that you took away some information that you can institute. Start in January, start the ball rolling, and make sure you have safety in the front of the mind of every one of your employees and also every one of your managers as well. Safety is a collaborative joint effort. Everybody needs to be involved. Everybody needs to buy in. If you need any assistance from us, if you need any of our financial reports, any assistance with OSHA compliance or understanding if you're a high hazard, or even finding out what your minimum mod is, you have my information. You know how to get a hold of us. Please let us know how we can help enforce, create, encourage safety within the workforce as well too. It starts with us, and then we tend to basically send it out to everyone else. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. What I will be doing is giving you a recording of this and also a copy of my PowerPoint slides. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to get a hold of me. We look forward to seeing you at our January 30th. Our job here at S&K is to provide you protection with insurance and to prevent any sort of risk, lawsuits, audits as well too. Our job is to protect our clients and organizations that we work with. I want to thank you again for attending. I want to thank you again for hopefully RSVPing for our future event, and please let us know how we can assist you as well too. Thank you so much.